think of it as a product, everything that you do. And a product is a bit different from a solution. A product has everything around it. It has a packaging, it has a deployment, it has SLAs and all of those things. That is a product. Everything else is just a solution. Think about it, everything that you do as a product in that sense. I think having kind of that approach will make life easier in the long run as an integration architect, I think.
Welcome to Integration Love Story. We're very glad that you're here. We're going to start off with the segment that we usually do nowadays. I'm going to try to do a short presentation, which will probably be okay and maybe something wrong. And if something is wrong, then just say, not that much, but I'm going to try.
Shoot.
So, integration architect at Cramo.
Yeah. That's correct.
So you've been working with integrations over 10 years. But you've been both on the consultant side and on the business side, to say.
Yeah.
So you moved the transitions from consulting and business, and you stayed at the business side, if I'm correct.
Yeah, sure. Well, it depends. Go on.
Yeah, what I understand from you as a person, if we talk about tech, AI, and everything about that you're curious about, but you're still very humbled about the new technology and curious about what happens. But I think that you're sure that the human side of IT will still be very important, even though AI and new tech will help us do even faster. I don't think that you're scared of that the human side will be something that we lose. Skiing is something of a favorite activity. If you choose your vacation. I'm not gonna go through that so much more because that would be cheating since we just talked about skiing. But I think I know that you're a friend of structure and clear communication. We have clear communications and open discussions, and we don't have to hide our.
I'm not sure about the structure though.
Structure is not. But let's have an open discussion, and I hope that this introduction was okay. And welcome, Dick, to this pod.
Thank you very much. You're absolutely spot on. I am a friend of having things structured. I love the winter games as a whole thing. I think that is one of the things with me when working as an integration architect is getting structure in the chaos that you have with integration. Integration is basically some kind of a chaos for many people. And I like to bring order into that chaos somehow. And I do. I have some kind of an OCD as my manager. We usually joke about these things. You have to care of your OCD. I think you can actually do something great stuff with it as well. So that's very, very good, very spot on, I would say. When I said that I like structure, I do. But I also like when you have structure, also brings the possibility to have the creativity as well, because structure doesn't say that you cannot be creative. The only thing you say, it helps the other guy sitting next to you to understand what you have said. If you some kind of can make it structured to that person, then you will not halt the creativity, but you will kill creativity if you force structure upon some people. You have to have it's a bit of a golden path. You have to walk it carefully so you don't kill creativity, but you don't get chaos at the same time. It's quite difficult from time to time, but when you succeed, it's really satisfying.
You like structure, but you know the structure can kill creativity and innovation in some points.
Yeah.
Like innovation, not creativity, I guess, because
innovation definitely so. Yeah, innovation can be.
I would like to challenge the part about the structure and how you are like saying that you like structure and you want to enforce an integration because yes, it's usually not that structured in integration work. Maybe in 1-2 projects, but usually there is a miss somewhere.
Yeah.
So how do you cope with this? Like when you have this kind of focus of the structured work, structured architecture.
Well, you have to have stamina, basically, in that sense. You need to think of it as you do a proof of concept or a version 1 or version 2 and version 3 around it. So if you have version 1, chaotic, but then you do next version 2, less chaotic, and then version 3, and so on and so forth. Doing it like that, it helps me at least keeping some kind of a structure. And that is also one of the things that if you're on the business side and not on the consulting side, that's one of the things that you need to help out with as well. You kind of pawn the way for the consultants to come in, do a lot of their work as they should do, as you pay for it, basically, so they should do. But then when they leave, the integration is still there and it's maintainable, for instance, for the business. So that's why the business needs to, and if the business doesn't have a way of keeping that structure, then the consultants need to provide that to them. If you're a consultant and they pay good money for you per hour, you're there for a few months or even a year, the only thing that stays after you when you leave is actually the documentation.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that they remember you by. And you want them to remember you by being a good guy and also leaving something good after you. That's what you want to be remembered by, because that's how they will come back to your company and buy more hours from you. So that's one of the things with it. As when I was a consultant, that's what my way of thinking, at least. And being on the business side, I also think that this is, so you can have brilliant consultants, brilliant employees with you, but everybody hates more or less doing documentation. I don't like it either, but I find it even harder to have looking around in the repos and all of those places just to find it. I don't enjoy it, basically. So helping out with giving them some kind of a structure, that's good. And now with AI as well, I mean, I can go click in it, document this for me. Brilliant. And that's why AI is so impressive now, is that you can actually do these things in so many ways. So you can actually, you don't have to force for some kind of documentation upon people anymore. You can just let the AI do it for you, basically.
The boring tasks can be removed. We talk about it a lot. I mean, and it's not our thought, but you talk about a lot that AI will help you being better at your job, and your job is not documenting things. It's about being an integration architect or integration developer. Or
I really love the way you put that. I just want to frame it again because this is one of the favorite things I hear about documentation. Like best things I hear how motivate for documentation, because for me was I like documentation. You know, I like tell people please document and like keen about it. But I'm always talking about you leave a document for the next guy. But when you are putting it that way, like the way you put it, that's your legacy. You are putting your memory here. People will remember you because you did these things and they will go for your document. That's your own legacy that you are playing with here.
It's your legacy.
That's how I see upon documentation. It's a kind of a legacy.
But before we deep dive into AI, because I'm sure we're going to go down that path, what's your background? I stated that you have 10 years in integration. Maybe that's wrong, but can you tell us about your background a bit and how you ended up in integration?
Yeah, it started when I was 10 years old. I usually tell when I've been in interviews. When I was 10 years old, I started with computers the first time, and from that day on, I've been hooked. So it was a Commodore 64. Best ever. Since that, I've been hooked. And when I started working for real after the studies and so on, I started working in the Dotcom era. So I got into the bubble just when it exploded. So it was quite a rough start in that sense. But I never regretted it, because the things I've learned from that period was amazing, and I still use that learning from that period. And that's when I started with consulting, basically, during that time. I was a consultant for a few years in Sweden, and then I met my wife, and we decided to, oh, hey, why not move to Norway for a few years? So we moved to Norway, and I started working on the business side on this company. Anyway, it's one of the richest people in Norway, that kind of company. So I was on the IT side there. I worked there for 2 years or so, and then I went back into consulting. And that's when I started with integration. So this is around 2010 or something like that. That's when I started with integration. And that was amazing in many ways, because up until then, you have been working with a different system. You're working with one application and another application and that kind of stuff you've been working with. And you always layered everything in them, as you should. You layer your applications, that's it. And then with integration, you get this integration layer outside of everything. You really get the missing piece to me, where you have like Maximo working with the SAP system and moving data between them. And that's where the thing happened to me when I actually got, oh, right, this is it. This is integration. You actually get the system to talk to one another and you can actually improve things and so on. That was then. And which will lead us to my integration love story, basically, because it came around 2010, 2011. It was at the G4S company in Norway, in Oslo. It's actually the biggest employer in the world, by the way, G4S. It's huge.
In the
800
world.
people employed worldwide. So it's a big company.
Having that.
I didn't know that.
Just looked up it previously because I was thinking about it. Yeah, does it exist anymore, this company? Yes, it does. 800,000 people employed. Quite a few, according to there. So anyway, I started working there in Norway, and they had a fantastic CTO. So CTO he had double roles. You have found out together with the marketing manager, they found out that hey, it takes around 3 to 4 weeks to get a prospect into becoming a customer. And that was the standard way of doing it at that time. And they challenged that one and said, hey, can we do it faster? Is it possible to do it faster? So me and my friend, I got to know a guy called Geir. His name is Geir Iva. And him and I was tasked to create that thing. So we did it.
What are you creating exactly?
Oh, excuse me.
What are you creating exactly? And that's like, is it a market process or what?
If from becoming, you went into their homepage and you said, I'm interested in becoming a customer, like like Sector Alarm and so on, those kind of companies, Very Sure and so on. And then you can go into their site and you can ask, hey, I'm interested in becoming a customer. From that time when they click send me your prospect until you became a customer was 3 to 4 weeks. Standard. That was the standard at that time, 2011 or something like that. We got it down to 4 hours, and I got hooked at the integration basically from 3 to 4 weeks down to 4 hours. And then at that time, the alarms was also installed and checked. So they did that at the time. Then they have their service technician went out there to the prospect. He had an iPad with him or similar, and a web page. And that web page was connected to our integration layer that was connected further down and so on. Today, not proper, but that time, good enough.
But that's what middleware did you use?
It was actually a homemade middleware. You mean what type of integration platform we used?
Oh, yeah.
We used BizTalk. So it was BizTalk in the middle from that part. And then you had the different alarm systems, you had the ERPs, and you have some other areas as well, including that one. And in front of that, we had this a normal web application, basically, in front of that the technician talked to and signed in an OAuth and so on. And 3 to 4 weeks down to 4 hours. So that was really wow.
How much? I have two questions. How much recognition did you get from the company, and how much did you celebrate?
We didn't celebrate as much as we should have, yes, because of you, unfortunately. But we got recognition from the CTO and the marketing manager as well, and the rest of the team there that we work with. They were impressed by that one, and it was a team effort, definitely so. I mean, Gareva and myself, we were basically the craftsmen. They had an excellent project manager, they had super users, so all of those things that really knew their stuff. An excellent internal customer, that's the marketing manager, of course, and the CTO. So this was a team effort, and that team we celebrated. We did. We went out, and I think we saw Jerry Seinfeld. He was in Oslo. So it's going Jerry Seinfeld. That was good fun. So we celebrated that much. Unfortunately, a year or two later, it was sold. The G4, as a big company, we don't make as much money as we would like. Well, then they sell a market, for instance. That's how they do. Every company in that size, they do that. It's just commodity work in many ways. That's how it is. There's nothing wrong with that, and I don't feel anything about it. They sold it to another competitor, and everybody was employed. They just took them over, so it was no big deal. It happens. My integration love story, to be honest.
So we started with the integration love story. Now we have all the episode of talking about everything that's
yes.
I'm interested in just before we. I mean, so if we fast forward to your day today, How does a regular day look for you as an integration architect?
Meetings, basically. I would say, unfortunately, a bit too much meetings from time to time. But in between, you actually get to do some interesting stuff as well. Working with your colleagues, perhaps you have some new guys and girls coming on board and being part of that time and that things as well. That is interesting. That is good fun, I would say, in those parts. Yeah, it is. Sorry, I'm sorry with the integration love story.
No problem. I'm just
I
curious
can
about.
finish off with my hate story later on instead. So that
Yeah, that's actually a really good
question.
one. Hate story.
But I got stuck with one. I got stuck with one because I think that we are moving to the technology and everything. Because you were around when the IT.NET bubbles
yeah.
cracked. Do you see any similarities with today, with everything happening at the moment?
Within AI, for instance, yes, of course, that's going to happen, but it's a bit too soon, I think, to say anything about it. But there will be casualties, that's for sure. We know that. And there will be mergers and acquisitions as well. We know that too. But the learning experience from such a bubble is tough, it's hard, it really puts a scar in you sometimes. But when you are over that, in a way, you will actually not cherish, not the correct word, but you will not hate your scars in that sense because you will have learned something from them. That is actually a good thing to have learned. You will survive. That's the thing you need to learn. You will survive, but it's going to be a bit tough for you, but you will survive. So
It's really good you started your story,
Yeah.
Pavel. And because I also agree with you that there will be some casualties soon. Something gonna happen. We don't know what it is, but the AI will not disappear. All of this will not disappear. It's gonna change something.
something's going to change. That's definitely sure. And we are going to see casualties, as we said, and AI will stay. It's going to change the world in so many ways. If you look on is it DoD in the US now that are talking around with having AI, it's like Skynet kind of thing in Terminator kind of thing, having
Well,
people
like
kill
I
or
mean,
something.
there is some kind of attacks with agents and stuff like that they are using now.
Yeah. So there are things happening in that area. So AI is going to stay, and that's for sure. It's just on how we're going to work with it. It's like a new hammer we have gotten in our toolbox. It's probably a very impressive hammer. Probably tell us what nail to use as well, but it's still a hammer. We need to say we need a hammer now. Or they will suggest a hammer for us if we want to have human in the middle loop. If we don't want that one, then just step back.
But as an integration architect, now, like if we're gonna be like taking it now, you are with these years of failures and success. I'm like because it's both of them. We cannot just say I'm 16 years of experience of integration. That means that you have been in a lot of mess. That's it's just
I have done so many mistakes.
yeah.
We could fill the rest of this pod with them.
Yeah. But obviously, you've been learning from BizTalk, and you may also went to Azure, and you have been exploring Mule. I don't know what you've been doing.
I've had the misfortune in a way, but yeah, I have seen that too, and I've touched it sometimes as well.
How do you see this fitting in your work now? You are obviously following AI.
Yeah.
And following all of those things now, and like how is it going? You have been learning the new things coming, and it was cool because when you have BizTalk and then suddenly there is Azure, there is all logic. So what do you see that as an architect now that's like I'm gonna create integrations with structure?
Yeah.
I was thinking about that when you talked about structure. I totally agree with you. You need structure, and things cannot move as fast as AI does, but adaptation in a structured way. How do you do that?
I have no real good answer for it either, but I do think that working with these markdown documents that they suggest for you with the plan MD, the tasks MD, skills agents, and so on, that is a starting point at least to get into a structured way of working at least around it, so we can have an understanding of what the hell we have created, basically.
Yes. Like you have your markdown, you have your skills.
Yeah.
I now work with skills with students. Like now I just tell it to do stuff and go search the internet and bring and create report. That's good. And like the MD files for development code, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm talking about embedding an agent in an integration workflow.
We haven't explored that part yet at Como, I must say, putting the agents in that loop. We have used them lately for the development, the execution of the parts, a lot of that lately, I would say, but not putting them into an integration like they did on the Nordic
It's an
integration.
orchestrator.
No, we haven't done that yet, I would say.
But do you see that happening in a more structured way?
Yeah, I can see it happening, definitely. I'm just thinking where it will happen first, to be honest, because it will happen. I just don't see where we will do it first. It has to be something that brings value to our customers in the first place.
Yes.
Before we do it, we can do it just because this is fun, but someone's going to pay for it, and there has to be some kind of a business value for it. Otherwise, we are not allowed, basically. And of course, we are allowed, but it's a good idea, and then they can support it. Otherwise, they have to talk with the financial officers.
Yeah.
They are not so easy to talk to sometimes. Jokes aside, that's the way it is. It's a box of money that has to be spent somehow, and has to be spent in a way that the financial officers agree to.
Yeah, which is actually, this is how it should be everywhere. Like, because if innovation that doesn't have a buyer or doesn't have a value, it doesn't create value, it's useless. It's not innovation, really.
I mean, if you want to play with it as a human being, having fun with it, sure. But as you said, I mean, it's so much happening, and I think that also the exploration part of actually what is value with these new tools. I mean, I find new things every week, more or less. That I come up with an idea, test it, and then see, okay, how can this be valuable? Not for only for the business I work with, but also for me. I mean, how can I eliminate a task that I don't want to do anymore? And
Yeah.
I think that's a fun part of it.
It's a repetitive
but
task.
then it's over.
I always was thinking about like it's about some kind around the business process, how this repetitive tasks that's done for those admins behind those integrations, because it's usually the integration showing something, executing something.
Yeah.
So this layer, just the business process layer, more close to the business users than the backend. But like now we talked about the successful story. We talked about the AI, but he mentioned something now, and we didn't really dig into that, which is like the unsuccessful stories.
You think he got away?
Yes, the unsuccessful stories.
Damn, I was hoping it was
so close.
Yeah, I was looking at what they're trying soon, but no, there are so many. I don't know. I can start with the BizTalk one. I can start with this. Is back in the days you could expose, for instance, a receive port in BizTalk for those who are working with it as a web method, as an API endpoint. So you could have like a receive port on an orchestration that you exposed as an endpoint. That was a crappy idea, to be honest, and I've done it. It was really, really hard to work with. The mappings were out of this world. Sitting there in the BizTalk mapper and doing all these things, it was mayhem. And it got slow because you have this orchestration, which is asynchronous in a way. You have a send port, a receive port, and BizTalk is an asynchronous operation. That's what it is. Send a message, it works, it finishes off. It doesn't do much more than that. That's what it does. And that was tricky to have it used like that. So that's not something I would like to do again, in that way at least. You can do other ways where you return a 202 accepted, for instance, that you could have done. And then when it was done, after it was finished, you can return a 201, like created or something like that. But 2010, 2011, not me. I was not that clever that.
It was a learning process.
No, I haven't learned properly. I learned it later on. So these days, I do it more. If I need to do something like an orchestration like that today, I would have that in it. For instance, Logic, that's the closest thing that we have to. You would have to return a 2 accepted, and then it can continue. And then when it's done, you would do something like a 2-1 creator when it's properly done. Or you have a webhook, something like that the application itself can just send the we are done information to it. That's how I would have done these days, at least. That was mistake number one.
It was good. We wanted one mistake.
Okay, I'm done.
Share to the community.
Well, the other one is a tricky one that I believe many of us struggle with. Integration do struggle with good APIs because it is hard. We are message people. We think in huge messages and so on. Basically, because you can have claim check pattern and so on it, or outbox pattern, if you like call it like that. You can have that instead. But on an API level, smarter APIs that are less verbose, and also versioning on that part is also difficult. I probably will do them again, but I will do it less and less and less. And I believe I'm not the only one that will do that. And then you sit there.
And not the last one either. Maybe limits is a good thing that also I have seen that it's been forgotten.
I mean, the APIs are hard to do, and then the versioning of it, we have a huge issue killing off APIs. If you can kill off APIs fast enough, then you will not have so much legacy with APIs as well. And that is also very hard, because who is the one to take the lead on killing off APIs and telling everybody to change it? I mean, it's difficult in a way, because you sometimes need to do tough love towards your users. And if you're a kind person, it's not very easy to do that. And then you struggle after a while. You have too many APIs, and which one is it to use?
Yeah, exactly. You have to be more.
Yeah.
You need a structure. You need to bring in a structure, because sometimes it becomes more of tastes than everyone is trying to do it their way. And it's good to have.
And you don't like when you see an API answer and it's like, this will soon be obsolete. And then I need to. It works. Why? Now it works.
Yeah, these are my two biggest things as a whole. I would say these are the ones that I feel I have probably even more if I start scratching on it, but these are the ones that I do feel a bit awkward about. But I also feel that this is something that I'm not alone with understanding the issues both with the old, where you haven't, like for instance, you have an API again, then that do too much.
Yeah.
Like a logic app, it can do too much.
Big,
and then you expose it as an API. What the hell were you thinking? Everybody does it, and not everybody, but it happens. Everybody do it sometimes. And then the thing is, how can you go back and change it? You need to have a change plan, and you have technical depth, and so on and so forth.
It's like the migration never ends in one thing. Like, I think people get stuck with migration. You migrate to new technology, but like this thing has to be so small and so agile as much as your process.
Yeah, true. That's it.
So
yeah, definitely.
But I think we have like a session where we call it a survival kit, but I think we're going to end off with that, since we already said the integration love story. But I want to dig in a bit deeper regarding, I want to combine two questions more or less, because I want to hear your story about your thoughts about what is the superpower behind an integrator. But I also want your opinion about the future superpower, since everything is changing. So what is a superpower that will not change as an integration architect, you think?
I was about to say curiosity, but curiosity kills the cat. But I think actually being curious is a good idea. Perhaps not always running on the first cool thing that you see. You need to also be able to hold your enthusiasms a bit back sometimes. It's not very easy to do, because if you see something that, well, if we go this way, we're going to save so much money, we're going to be able to onboard so many new clients, and so on and so forth. Everybody's not there. So having cool down a bit more in a way, and not be over enthusiastic. You have to be enthusiastic and curious and so on, but being the superpower is actually to do some kind of a storytelling, I would say. And that is a superpower in my way of thinking. A superpower that I think it's amazing how some people can do it. I'm very impressed by it. I must say, the storytelling part, that is a superpower. But that goes for everything more or less, and probably not just integration in our sense. Anything so storytelling is a good thing. And that one is also for the future, I would say, definitely. Surviving right now with all the workloads that people have, I think is, again, finding to be a bit curious, wanting to learn, I think, or at least learn from others. I'm not saying you should sit day out and day in and go courses here and there and so on and so forth. I'm just saying that take the possibility to learn from where you are as well. If you are in a project right now, try to think, how could we do it differently? That kind of thinking, I would say, and also be able to think in versions, version 1, version 2, version 3, having like a product state of mind, if you can put like that, something that you think of it as a product, everything that you do, and a product is a bit different from a solution. A product has everything around it. It has a packaging, it has a deployment, it has SLAs and all of those things. That is a product. Everything else is just a solution. Think about it, everything that you do as a product in that sense. I think having kind of that approach will make life easier in the long run as an integration architect.
I really can resonate with that mind, because everything is coming and you try something out and then you want to do everything because you find especially now, I mean, I've started coding again, but I mean, what I'm doing is more
English.
but what I'm doing is creating, and I love creating, and I now started creating again, and then something happens. But then, as you said, seeing it like the learning path also as a product. I don't have to learn everything now, tonight or this weekend. I can do it as a product. I mean, what do I need to learn now to actually go to the next step, next version?
Yeah, then you lose the attachment. You don't get so protective about, oh, that's my knowledge now. This is the thing. No, it's not.
It's just a version.
It's just a version, and it's gonna go away because it will become.
Yeah.
I really love the way you put it together with how you think about everything as a product and a version, because you put it in a perfect way. About storytelling, that was really helpful for me. So thank you for that. I want to take it just to flip that around, because you have been working as a consultant and you are not in a consultant company now.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
So, but you have been a consultant.
Yeah. So I have a consultant way of mind. When I think many things that I do, I'm battled, hardened from the consultancy world. So that's how I think about things. It has to, everything that you do must be kind of a value in it.
I really like the way you are putting it, because everything you do is your own product. That's your legacy. So it's like, it puts things together in a really nice way, I guess. But I want to add a third question to that one here. This question is about, like, because now we talked about what do you want to be as a human, and like how you want to think and productize and how to survive the superpower. But like, we are now in March 2026. You are now focusing on something. What you are actually reading, what you are learning now.
What I'm learning most right now is actually becoming a buddy with the GitHub Copilot CLI. I'm trying to really be a good friend with that one. And I think we are getting fairly acquainted, I must say right now. I think last week I prompted a RAG solution, completely local. So I asked OpenAI, ChatGPT, I would like to create this one. How can I prompt this to CLI, to the GitHub Copilot?
You're working through the terminal.
I asked the CLI, ChatGPT for that. It gave me a good start. And then I created a plan MD from that. And then I asked Copilot, then GitHub Copilot, the CLI, to implement that one. And then I took it from there. And it took me 3 days to get something running locally. It took 1 day or so to just get it up and running, creating all the things that Aspire needed. I also needed some extra. It was about transcripting audio file, video files. I needed something. After 3 days, I actually had something that I could do some ask you on like human language things towards that one. It was a combination of ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot, basically, and the CLI GitHub Copilot. That was 3 days work. So much of that, becoming a buddy with that one is one of the things right now. And I think it was this Monday, on Monday, I have created a thing for my own that I do, basically, that I think, which comes to the hate story soon.
Let's do that. You can end up in the hate story.
There is everybody of us have been sitting in mapping sessions, more or less. We sit there, someone sits in an Excel file, and then they do mapping, and we are a lot of people in the same room. I find
Yeah.
that quite tedious in many ways. I created a tool for it, and that tool generates, in the end, it generates a mermaid diagram, basically. So I tried it out this Monday. If I take this mermaid diagram plus the source file and the target file, can you create an integration for me from that one? Can you do like a service bus triggered integration and then send it out on a service bus again, having Aspire as the engine in a way, so I can drive everything locally without deploying anything in the cloud? Yeah, it did. It took.
That's actually amazing. It's so you created a diagram from the business process or whatever. The business process is a diagram, and then you have your test files, which is output and input. And you ask it to do it, and you have the Aspire, so you didn't need a platform in that sense.
PowerShell scripts for me as well. I just ran one of the PowerShell scripts.
Yeah.
Sent the test file and ended up in the service bus mock. And then I have another PowerShell script file for retrieving the file, and so I could actually validate that the mapping that I had just done worked. So I JSON in, XML out, and all on a service bus level. This was quite hilarious.
Just when you realized that it worked, what did you do?
I stood up and I did this. Yes!
That's a silent celebration.
Yeah,
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
That's how it worked. It's good fun. It's something I have built, so I have it. We can talk about it later on, but I built it.
I would love to see that demo.
Yeah,
I
we can have a joint webinar.
We cannot do it now. We're running
No,
out.
we cannot do it now, but we do it later.
Yeah.
Like we can do another session or just like look at it because I'm really curious.
Yeah.
I'm definitely so. It's a good thing to do. It's a good one because that's my hate story, sitting in these mapping sessions. So, and I don't think you should have a developer having to sit in these meetings just because they are the one that have access to the data map.
Yeah, it's as we said earlier. I mean, AI should help us kill things that we should not do. I mean, as an integration architect or a developer, that is definitely a task you should attend to.
Yeah. No, and what I mean here, because the value here is not the map, is not the service bus deployment, it's not the what you call it, the sending the messages. You are the brain behind all of this. You are the big orchestrator. So creating those things is actually part of your work.
Yeah,
that's why I love this.
I enjoy it quite much. It's good fun to do it, but just worked. It took me an hour. It just
yeah, exactly. It's amazing.
What the hell happened here?
And I think that we usually end up with a love story, and now we ended up kind of with the hate story, but it ended up in a fun way. I guess it's not.
This is an amazing story.
It's the integration story. It's the new story.
This is Roundup. This is the true love for integration because there is no love for the platform. It's not Azure. It's not Mule. It's not BizTalk. It's integration. Now I'm using Copilot CLI to do that. But like this is integration. So
this integration. Well, that's an integration thing that I did.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, and I think that we could talk for hours, and we definitely should look at this demo, either with an episode or something else. But we should talk more. Is there anything that you would like to add before we round this fantastic episode up?
The survival kit, you said.
You should kit, and then
I thought about it, and it's basically just one thing. There are three things. I would like to have a proper internet connection, definitely. Something that works all the time. An AI subscription, unlimited. And my IT team, basically. The people that I've been working with in the different ICCs that I've been with, those guys and girls, definitely so. Those are the things I would like to have with me when I do integration. It is a team effort. And without that team effort, it's not fun. Yeah, it's a team effort. I think that is the biggest thing of it all.
That's really a nice thought also. You get the people, you get the tools.
And then the internet connection.
And the internet connection, yes, of course.
Very important.
And the unlimited tokens. That's a new dream that I like to check box.
That's a new part to having your survival kit.
Yes, exactly.
get 3 wishes. One of them in unlimited tokens, please.
Yes.
True.
But, thank you so much, Dick. We will keep in touch, and we will probably do a next episode soon.
100%. By the speed he's going in now with integration, we might create his own platform soon.
Who knows?
We will see that. Yes. Thank
Thank you
you.
so
It
much.
was an amazing talking to you.
Thank you. Good fun to be talking to you guys as well. Thank you so much.